Hello, my favorite mathematicians, and welcome to 1.6, dividing whole numbers by fractions. Today, our essential question is, how can I use models to divide a whole number by a fraction? So even if we remember some tricks on how to do this, the whole purpose of today is being able to do it using models. So the supplies we're going to need so that we can use models to divide whole numbers by fractions are our writing utensil, some different colored pencils, your math notebook, that growth mindset, and some determination. Hopefully by the end of this short video, you'll be able to say with confidence, I can divide whole numbers by fractions using models. Again, the key part today is that we want to be able to use models to show our understanding of these whole numbers and fractions. Let's go ahead and dive right in with a sample problem. We're going to start by solving 5 divided by 3/4 and modeling what that looks like. So the first thing you're going to need to do is to split those wholes, we have 5 of them in this case, into groups of 4. And the reason we're splitting them into groups of 4 is because that is our denominator. So if our denominator were 2, we would split them into groups of 2. If our denominator were 6, we would split them into groups of 6. But in this problem, our denominator is 4, and so we're going to split 5 wholes into fourths. So obviously before we can do that, we need to draw our 5 wholes. Now I chose to do circles, and circles are good when you're using fourths because it's easy to split them. However, you can also use rectangles, and for a lot of denominators, rectangles are actually your easier option. So I have my 5 wholes. Let's go ahead and split those into fourths like so. And then we will be ready for step 2. Step 2 is that we want to know how many groups of 3 can we make. And the reason we're making groups of 3 is that is our numerator. That's the number on top. So that tells us how many groups we're going to make. So this is where your colored pencils are going to come in handy because it's much easier to see how many groups of 3 you make if each group of 3 is its own color. So go ahead and grab your first color. I'm going to choose orange, and we're going to make a group of 3. So I'm going to shade in 3 pieces, all orange, and that is one group of 3. But the question is, how many times can I do that? So now I'm going to change colors. I'm going to pick up my blue colored pencil, and I'm going to make another group of 3. So now I have 2 groups of 3. I'm ready to change colors again. I'm going to go with pink this time, and I'm going to make another group of 3. Switch colors, do it again. You kind of get the idea. I got a group of 3. I'm going to change colors again, and I'm going to make a group of 3. And so now you can easily see why those different colors come in handy because it's real clear to me where my groups of 3 are. Another group, we're going to use teal. Now, I can't fully make another group of 3 here, but I can go ahead and start making a group of 3. So I'm still going to change colors and color in those last 2, even though it's not a full group of 3. And you'll see why in just a moment. So the question for step 2 was how many groups of 3 can we make? Well, we had an orange group, a blue group, a pink group, a yellow, a green, and a teal. I was able to make 6 full groups of 3. So 6, that number of groups of 3 that I made, that's going to be a whole number in my answer. So let's go ahead and see what that looks like. It's going to be equals to 6. Now we're going to talk about what to do with that leftover, those purple pieces that didn't make a full group. Those leftover pieces without a full group, we had 2 of them, 2 purple ones. Those make up the numerator in our answer, or the top number. So now I've got 5 divided by 3/4 equals 6 and 2. And now we've got to come up with our denominator. Well, our denominator comes from the number of pieces that were in a full set, the number of pieces in a group that we were trying to make. And we were trying to make groups of 3. So essentially, the numerator in the problem becomes the denominator in the answer. So 5 divided by 3/4 is 6 and 2/3. And I'm going to back that up just because I went through that pretty quick, and I want you to get that number of pieces in a complete set, that's the denominator in your answer. And so here I was making sets of 3, So that's my denominator. And 5 divided by 3/4 is 6 2/3. All right, now is the part of the video where you get to apply these steps and practice it on your own. So go ahead and pause the video, follow those steps you just recorded in your notebook, and practice those other 5 problems that you have. All right, hopefully as you modeled the division of whole number by fractions, you came up with the answers of 24, 12, 13 1/3, 10 1/2, and 4. If you did not, I want you to go back and try again, look at your model, figure out where you went wrong, ask questions if you need help figuring out where you went wrong, but make sure your models correctly show the work of that problem. And now it's time for me to go ahead and end today's lesson by thanking you for attending 1.6, dividing whole numbers by fractions. Hopefully you can now answer the question of how to model the division of a whole number by a fraction using those models. And we're going to give credit, like we always do, to Amy Grosbeck, Amanda Newsom, and Bricks and Borders for providing us with some awesome fonts and clip arts. Mathematicians, go forth and be amazing.